Good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? Hope all is well. Merry Christmas. So, another Christmas coming. My Christmas tree. I love it. Less work that way. So after swim yesterday, I went to the barbecue and got the ribs, and I was like ready to pay with silver, but I didn't have it. Greg and John, good morning. Merry Christmas. Hope all is well for everybody. So let's talk some gold first, and then we'll get into the football. So we see the markets closed. Silver ended at 71.91, and this has been closed for a day. This should open up tonight with China, so 44.80. We saw it was in the 45 and change, and this was 72.50, and then the 10 o'clock drop, but it closed at I think it closed at noon or 1, so that's why I didn't have a chance to come back. I expected much higher. I expect $100 silver by the end of the year. Maybe a little too aggressive, but let's say it was let's go with 80, 85 by the end of the year. I mean, we got a week. Let's say let's say go $77. It'll be 100, but it's too quickly, I think. Just a second. All right. Anyway, just say hi to Dee. She hasn't been on for a while because sometimes they cut the internet in Russia. But I wanted to respond. This should get conservatively. We know it's $100. Again, it's paper versus physical. There's a lot more paper, which is just total bullshit, than physical, and you need to understand that. Which I think we do. Most people don't, but we do, and that's the whole point of it. You've not only is it paper, gold and silver on COMEX, but even the physical is not backed by anything. So the physical is bullshit too, but less bullshit than the paper. That's why we talk physical gold, right? Because the money itself is not backed by anything. And the COMEX is gold and silver. That is paper, not physical. That's what I was going with it, is physical gold is much more limited than paper. So the price you see is nowhere near reality. Greg John, I saw a guy on YouTube selling all his silver to a pawn shop. Yeah, we call these guys idiots. You ever watch Pawnbroker? No, I don't watch pawn shops. Now, is this like US dollar eagles or this junk silver? And what did I'm assuming the pawnbroker very excitedly bought it. And then what did he buy it for? Merry Christmas to Pat in Singapore. Hopefully he's well. His mother's well. Get back to me on that. So we understand that it's option derivative paper gold, not the physical that is COMEX. So they're running out. There's several needs of silver that are developing, which, maybe when you were into like doing solar panels, you said, well, let's make a solar panel that needs silver. And maybe you thought, well, silver's cheap, that it's a good item. Why wouldn't you make a solar panel that didn't need silver? We'll use copper for it or brass or something. AI, they need silver. All these things that coming out that need silver. I bet if they design something now, it won't need silver. Why do you think they don't need gold? Gold's too expensive. So anyway, we see our gold. We call it 4,500. Gold by the end of the year probably hits 4,600. It doesn't really have time to run to 5,000. That's where it's going. And silver at 72, maybe it runs to 75, 76. I heard it's 78 in Shanghai. I don't know, but we'll see. There's definitely a tremendous difference in the Shanghai physical market and that. Anyway, so that's what's going on. This should come on tonight because China's already tomorrow, right? So China will be by about 6:00, 6:30 our time. This is like Sunday, right? It'll start moving. Oh, sure. Yeah, they bought it all happily. What did they buy it for? And was it junk or was it like regular silver that, Eagles and Maple Leafs? But be careful with these pawn guys. I would never go to a pawnbroker, maybe to buy, never to sell. If I sell, I'm going to my gold store. And he's happy to buy too. They gave him the price they were worth. So explain that. So you're saying if he had a mercury dime, they gave him 10 cents? Or did they figure out what its weight is? I think we saw yesterday it was like 14 mercury dimes are an ounce. So did he have 14 mercury dimes and they gave him $70, or did they give him 10 cents? All right. Anyway, there's some videos I'll show you later. Let's take a look at football. So let's look at today's games. Dallas is up to 8.5, 50.5 to Washington. We'll probably get an 8. Let's call it 8. We have Detroit 7 and 43. This is the lowest number I've ever seen on Detroit. 743. Again, Browsmer is the quarterback, not J.J. McCarthy against Golf. Lions must win the game or they're done. It's going to be hard because they have no offensive line. So Minnesota is going to put a lot of pressure, and Detroit probably won't be able to run, and they'll throw, and they're good throwing the ball. Defensively, they should be able to get enough pressure on Browsman. I can't imagine him eating them alive. So let's make this our free play. Detroit -1, 1.5. and a teaser and a must-win game. Although I'm not that comfortable with it because I am thinking, yeah, Browsmer they should beat. There's no trend analysis on it, and then I'm that. And then the last game is Denver 13-36 to Kansas City, and Kansas City starting Olana Quana. I did see some highlights on him. He's one of these running type of quarterbacks. I don't know why Andy Reid would have that. You got Mahomes. So Denver, not a must win, playing for the 1 seed. So first, let's go through the line, and then we'll come back. We got San Diego 239.5 to Houston. We got Green Bay 3.5, 40.5 to Baltimore. I would think. Well, we'll see who's quarterback. I would think Lamar's not quarterbacking, but it's not till Saturday, and I haven't seen a final thing yet. Seattle 7, 42.5 to Carolina. I have a big hunch on Seattle here that I think they'll win. New England and the Jets, New England 13, 42.5. I think they'll kill the Jets. Tampa, Miami, Tampa 5.5, 45.5. We do have Cook again. No, we got Ewers again. Baker against Ewers. So we got Cook for the Jets. So all these quarterbacks, we got Johnson going for Washington. We got Browsman for Minnesota. Odell for Kansas City. Stroud for Houston. We're not sure who for Baltimore and Green Bay. Maybe Willis against Huntley. Darnell against Young, Seattle. We got May against Cook for the Jets. We got Baker against Ewers for Miami. Lawrence and Rivers. How sad is that? Saw against Ward. Rodgers against Prime Jr. Brissett against Burrow. Dart against Smith. Hurts against Allen. Caleb against Purdy. And Stafford against guys. There's, well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 games where the starting quarterback at the beginning of the year is not playing, or the regular starter is not playing. 11 of the 13 games do not have the regular starter. Like you got Ewers instead of Tay. You got Cook instead of nobody. Rivers is in there. I mean, this is crazy. And they're trying to do like no roughing the quarterback or no, all these stupid rules, and yet there's still all these injuries because it's football. Jacksonville 6.5, 48.5. Lawrence against Rivers. We got New Orleans, Tennessee. New Orleans 2.5, 39.5. New Orleans has been playing decently. Tennessee sucks. Pitt and Cleveland. Pitt 3, 32.5. They're 33.5. Again, DK Metcalf won't play. I think the whole thing's stupid. I think the fan should be thrown in jail. It's disgusting what he's doing. Why he went over there in the first place. The guy apparently wanted his shirt autographed. Why he's doing that in the middle of the game, I don't know. And then why he's reacting. Now, he never hit the fan. He just put his hand up, like telling him to fuck off, but he really didn't hit him. Anyway, so Pitt, we'll see. If Baltimore wins, then we'll bet Pitt. If they don't win, I don't know what to do with Pitt. Arizona, Cincinnati 7, 52.5. Look for Burrow to have another big day. Giants go to Oakland for the number 1 draft pick. Oakland 1, 41.5. Philly, Buffalo 1 and 44. This is a tough game. Is Philly going to try? They don't need the game. Buffalo, we'll see if New England wins the 1 o'clock game. This game really won't mean anything. The Bears against the Niners. This will have good meaning. The Niners 3, 52.5. And the Rams at Atlanta, the Rams 8 and 49.5. So the games with meaning start with Detroit, Minnesota today. Again, golf against Brosmer. I mean, so I'll give you free Detroit -1. I mean, they have to win, but Minnesota's got a good defense, and Detroit has no offensive line. And Detroit, the coach sucks, and the defense sucks. I don't think Brosmer will light him. I think Detroit will just pressure Brosmer. And because it's a must-win game for Detroit, I just don't know. They're just, when you lose your offensive line, how are you going to block Minnesota? That's the real problem there. So they should win because Brosmer is new, doesn't know what he's doing. So I guess you'll blitz him, but probably be closer than we'd like it to be. Denver, KC. Denver needs the game. They're going for the 1 seed and to win their division. Right now, San Diego is a game back. Again, you got Knicks against Odolanhu, who played a little bit last week, I saw. I don't think he's going to beat Denver. I think Denver, I don't know. They don't normally blow out, but they're coming off of a loss also. I think Denver has a big game. Houston, San Diego. So both teams need it. Houston trying to catch Jacksonville. So both Houston and Jacksonville will be playing. San Diego's trying to catch Denver. So if Denver wins, San Diego's 2 games back with 2 to play, and they play them next week. So San Diego would be a must-win, and Houston's a must-win. Baltimore, Green Bay. Baltimore's 2 games back at Pitt with 2 to play, and they play Pitt next week, so they have to win. Green Bay is also, depending on if the Lions lose, Green Bay's in. If the Lions win, then Green Bay has to win. So we will see. So we'll learn a little today on the Detroit game and the Denver game. New England and the Jets. New England has to win, especially if Denver wins. And I can't imagine Denver losing the game. So they'll have to win to try to stay ahead of Buffalo and to get the 1 seed. Mr. Happy Stacker, how are you? Go to Bears. Yeah, the Bears have been making us money. Back to Greg John. Yeah, they gave them the price they were worth. Yeah, the weight. Greg John, you're telling a bad story here. So the guy goes in. So did they give him what, 70? Did they give him the $72 per ounce? And so they gave him 10 mercury dimes were an ounce, and they gave him $72 for the 10 mercury dimes. Was it all junk silver? You're missing out a lot of the story here. Go to Bears. Welcome, Mr. Happy Stacker. Buy your silver, buy your gold, and Merry Christmas. Enjoy. So New England also has to win. May against Cook. I think New England will blow them out. It's hard to lay the 13 because the teams don't care about winning by 20 points. New England's happy if they win by 3. But I don't see the Jets with Big Steve Cook beating them. But anybody that can win the Firestone Tournament of Champion, I like that guy. It's on YouTube if you want to watch it. It's the 1981 Firestone Tournament Champion. Steve Cook beating Earl Anthony in the finals. Tampa Bay at Miami. Tampa Bay in a must-win. Hoping that Seattle beats Carolina. Tampa 5.5. And again, Baker against Ewers. I don't understand starting these rookie quarterbacks. All right, you bench Tagliavua. Are you seriously thinking Ewers is your answer? Why you even drafted him or free agent him, I don't know, but this guy's terrible. So I don't think Miami scores. So really, depending on what it is, you want to bet under on these rookie quarterbacks. That's why the Detroit game's 43, but I can't bet under on the Detroit game. Denver, maybe you can go under, but it's 37. Baltimore Green Bay is 40. We'll have to see the quarterback. I think that's low. I think that's an over game. Darnell and Young, I think that's an over game, also 42. May against Cook. I don't think the Jets score, but they have a 32 defense. So I think New England wins it comfortably. 43 is probably an under with Cook. Again, when they give you the shit quarterback, it's an under. They're not going to score. He'll scramble around a little bit and throw a couple of interceptions and stuff like that. So Tampa needs it. Baker against Ewers. Look for Tampa to get the win against Ewers, especially with Godwin and Evans back. I think Tampa, their defense isn't great, but I think they'll be able to have enough to beat Ewers. Jacksonville, Indy, Lawrence against Rivers. I mean, come on, this isn't San Diego 10 years ago. Jacksonville, I think, is a very strong team. They're an 18 with a 17 defense. They're a very strong team. Jacksonville 12-3 in a teaser this year. Rivers, he's okay, but what's he going to do? He doesn't even have really good receivers. They got the running back, Taylor, but that's about it. So I think Jacksonville gets the win there. Again, they need it. New Orleans, Tennessee, nobody cares. Shaw against Ward, play against Tennessee 12-3. Pitt, Cleveland, again, depending on what happens with Baltimore. Baltimore wins, Pitt wins. Baltimore loses, Pitt doesn't care. Pitt clinches. 3-33 at Cleveland. This should be. It's not windy anymore there. We'll look at the weather, but it kind of died down and it kind of warmed up. So even Cleveland and Buffalo is really not windy. I scratched out the wind in the Buffalo game. In a normal game, this is probably an over because Prime Jr. will run around and, get a touchdown or two. And Pitt doesn't have that killer defense. This is a very low total, 33. There's no reason for this. The weather, yes, but the weather died down. This is definitely an over. 27. Like I said, it's 17-10. I mean, this will go much higher than that. Just an average game is going to be 24-17, something in the 40s. Arizona, Cincinnati, nothing to play for. Cincy a Z team. Brissett, play against Arizona this year, 14-1. And play against Arizona on the road is 5-1. So overall 14-1, just on the road 5-1. I think Burrow will light them up, and it's 7. I mean, this game, this is like, it doesn't mean anything, but it's Joe Burrow, and he had a shit game there 2 days ago against Baltimore. And he lit up Miami last week, and he's going to do the same thing here. He's just going to light them up. People like Burrow and Chase, they got a lot of pride. They like showing off. They like being the best. They're gonna light it up. And all they got to do is 1 by 1 against Arizona, who's a Z team now. The Giants at Oakland, playing for the first draft pick. I love it. Play against the Giants, 8-0 on the road, 13-2 overall. So the Giants really suck since they lost Scatterboo. It start running around getting concussions. You'll never learn. He's supposed to slide, or he's too stupid to slide. Against Geno Smith, again, which Oakland team's going to show up? I mean, the one that played Houston last week was where was that all year? Or did Houston just not care and not tackle? Both with 28 defenses, both Z teams, but nobody needs it. Philly, Buffalo. Philly's clinched. Buffalo's trying to catch New England. And New England's got a 1-game lead on them. So if New England wins, they got to win to have a hope. Buffalo was 144. Hurts and Allen. Philly's 12-3 in a teaser. Play against as a home favorite. Buffalo is 5-0, and play against Philly this year is 13-2. So Philly's playing close games. You can bet against them and win. Buffalo as a home favorite is they're not blowing out at home. I don't know. I think Philly's got too much pride to just lay down here, and especially if Jalen Carter's playing, they're going to play. Um, so I just think it's a normally in this case I tease the dog and or it's a 44. Most Buffalo games I go over. Philly, I think Philly will score at Buffalo. Buffalo's a good over team. They score a lot and they don't have a good defense. That's why they'll never win the Super Bowl and very hard to get there because you need a defense. KC wins because they have a good defense. Yeah, they got Mahomes, but it's the defense that I mean, look at Philly last year. It was the defense that won the Super Bowl, not Hurts. I don't know why Hurts was the MVP. He did nothing in the game. The Bears, the Niners. It's a playoff game. Both teams need it. The Bears still going for the 1 seed, as are the Niners, and the Niners are trying to win their division, and they're like right there with Seattle and the Rams, so they have to win. They got Seattle next week, so it's a must-win for both teams. Both are A with 18 defenses. Caleb against Purdy. The Bears are 13-2 this year in the teaser, and play against is a road dog 6-1, which they are a road dog, which just simply means they play a close game on the road most of the time. And then the last game, the Rams, Atlanta. The Rams are 8-49. Stafford against Cousins, big mismatch there. Rams are an A team with the 26 defense, but only because they just played the Lions and they played Seattle, teams that put up big numbers on them. I don't see Kirk Cousins doing that. The Rams are 13-2 in the teaser, 7-1 on the road. Other teaser trends that I kind of missed: Denver 14-1 in the teaser today. Houston 14-1 in the teaser today, tomorrow or Saturday. Green Bay 6-1 at home. Seattle 6-1 as a road dog, 12-3 overall. Carolina 5-1 as a home dog. They're not. I mean, they did beat the Rams at home. They did get killed by a few teams. They got killed by Jacksonville. They got killed by San Francisco. Some of the better teams. They're really a clusterfuck. They beat the Rams and then got killed by other, Houston, Jacksonville, other teams. So it's like, well, against good teams, they normally lose, but they beat the Rams somehow. But Seattle here has to win it. I don't see them beating Seattle because Seattle brings the defense, and that's the neutralizer on the road. New England 14-1 in a teaser, play against the Jets 13-2, so it's a New England play there. Jacksonville 12-3. Tennessee play against is 12-3, which means if you just bet against them. The weather's cleared up at Pitt, Cleveland, and at Buffalo. We'll check it again. Play against Arizona 14-1, so you take Cincinnati there. Play against the Giants 13-2, so it takes Oakland. Now it doesn't mean Oakland's going to win. It means if you take 4.5 in Oakland, you'll win. Philly 12-3, but play against them 13-2. Buffalo with no real trend because they're inconsistent. Chicago 13-2 in a teaser, and the Rams 13-2 in a teaser. So that's what we got. So we have to check. Well, we know the quarterbacks. I guess we can look for other injuries here. What did that say? Raiders placing Brock Bowers on IR. Lamar sits out practice again. So what happened to Brock? That gets hurt 2 months. Okay, so you have Oakland with no Brock Bowers. How to watch the 2025 Christmas Day games on TV. It's so stupid. Jordan Love in concussion protocol. George Kittle avoids major injury, which don't know what that means. Will it be Jordan Love or Malik Willis? That question may not be answered for a few days. Okay. It's the same with Lamar. I don't know why they make such a big deal if a guy practices or not. A lot of guys don't practice. They don't need it. They're tired. They're banged up. So they need the rest. That's why these Thursday games are absolutely ridiculous. They shouldn't be playing like these Christmas days are a joke. I mean, these guys have played Sunday. They are not recovered, especially week 17. They are not ready to play today. TJ Watt returns to practice with Steelers after collapse lung. Wow. Josh Allen will be playing. He's got an injured ankle. Travion Henderson and Bote remain in concussion protocol for New England. The Colts are hopeful that Sauce Gardner will return. Now, the Colts, I believe, still need the game mathematically, I think. All right, let's check. Well, the injuries aren't really out. Brock Bowers is out, but most of these aren't there. Washington, Chris Rodriguez is questionable with an illness. They're starting Johnson over Mariota. So Daniels is out, Mariota's out. They're going with Johnson, who just sucks, against Dak, who just sucks too. But the line you can see, Dallas is up to 8. So, yeah, Detroit's probably the best free play. They have to win, and they're going against Brosmer. And that's all you can do is ask. You got the third string quarterback, not that the first two are any good. He'll probably light up the Lions too, right? And then you got Denver, KC. You can probably play Denver against Oleanhu. Denver needs the game. So you could probably go Detroit. You can probably go Denver. Dallas is, I mean, again, you got 3 nobody quarterbacks. These all 3 should be blowouts today. Dallas has the offense. The 33 defense probably won't come into play because what's Johnson going to do? Detroit mini, again, Detroit with the 32 defense, a good quarterback will take advantage of it, but Brosmer can't take advantage of it. As bad as it is, they'll probably just blitz the guy all day. So I don't think Brosmer is going to beat him, and Detroit has to win or they're out of the playoffs. So a must win. Now the question is, can Detroit win? And the answer is maybe. We don't know. This is a totally different Detroit team. Bad offensive line, bad defense, secondary. It's a bunch of third stringers. But Brosmer shouldn't be able to take too much of an advantage. Again, it's the matchup. So if this was, not that they have any good quarterbacks at Minnesota, I'll say Kirk Cousins was still there. Then it would be, Kirk Cousins could probably light him up. Or if they faced Stafford, who did lit him up. But Detroit has that offense, so I think Detroit will score. And then Denver, KC, Denver needs it. It's a big number, 12.5, 13. So be careful with it. 37, the total, you'd think under because Denver with a great defense. And KC has a decent, but KC's like giving up. I watched the Tennessee game. It was close for a while, and then when Oladahoud came in, and he started turning the ball over. So I don't think it'll be like the Tennessee game, but I think KC's toast. Once they're eliminated and they're Super Bowl champs, it's like when the Packers had won 3 in a row and then they got eliminated the next year. They weren't prudent anymore. Reed. Hello, Reed. Merry Christmas. Welcome to our class. George Kittle has a sprained ankle, probably out Sunday. Huge part of Frisco's offense. The usual part is McCafferty, Purdy. I know Ayuk's out, but Jennings is there. Um, they have the other receiver. So I don't know if he's out because this is like do or die, and he has to, but they'll be okay without him. I mean, he's been out before. Uh, they'll just go to McCafferty on swing passes more, and then the receivers, Jennings and the other guy. But Purdy's there. You got a good coach who knows good play calling. He just chokes in the big games. Can't handle winning the Super Bowl. So yeah, he's part of it. I think McCafferty is a bigger part of it, but yeah, yeah, I understand it. And I don't know if he's out, but he didn't have a high ankle sprain. He's got a low ankle sprain. But look at St. Thomas for the Lions. He hurt his ankle and had to come out of the Green Bay game. And there was no reason he played against Dallas, and he took the needle and he played. So I don't know if he's definitely out because it's a big game for the Niners. I did play that game, but not the way you think. Chris Rodriguez, questionable for Washington. He's pretty good. So we're really too early. Taysom Hill, I like. Dylan Sampson from Tennessee. A hand and calf injuries, but there's an opening in the Cleveland backfield with Junkins hurt. Sampson received work, has been sharp at very doesn't tell me anything. All right. So that's what we've got. Let's check the weather here. Morning, Prophet. Merry Christmas. Well, you too. Thank you very much. So what are you going to do when gold hits 5,000? You'll be a happy camper, I'm sure. All right, let's go through the weather. Dallas at Washington, 52 degrees and only 7-mile-an-hour winds. Chance of rain. I don't care about that. It's not going to be a big rainstorm. Move to Hawaii. Is Hawaii a good place to go to? I thought you'd be like, go to like Singapore or Hong Kong or somewhere like that, some island. Detroit Minis in a dome. Denver KC 57 and mostly cloudy and light winds. So no weather problem in Kansas City. San Diego's in a dome. Baltimore and Green Bay 37, chance of rain, 9-mile-an-hour winds. So it's going to be like wind 27 and 9. Second quarter 27 and 9. 27 is the weather, the temperature 27 and 9. And 27 and 9. So it's going to be 27 and 9-mile-an-hour winds in Green Bay, which is fine these are both North teams. So shouldn't be a big deal. 27 is fine. Arizona, Cincinnati, 65 in Cincinnati, 10-mile-an-hour winds and some rain. Seattle at Carolina, 60 degrees, slight chance of rain, 7-mile-an-hour winds. So it's very warm this weekend. Pitt at Cleveland, 43, could have some rain and down to 10-mile-an-hour winds. So this is what was initially a very windy. Now it's down to 10. 41 and 10, 41 and 12, chance of rain. Big deal. It's going to run Warren down their throats. New Orleans at Tennessee, 67 and 11-mile-an-hour winds, and nobody cares. Jacksonville, Indy in a dome. Tampa Bay, Miami, 75 and clear and no wind. New England at the Jets, let's see. First quarter, 25 and 5-mile-an-hour winds. Second quarter, 25 and 5, 25 and 5, 25. So it's 25 and 5, no wind. Chance of rain, who cares? And it's warm enough for New England. So the weather's no problem. Oakland in the dome. Philly, Buffalo. It's going to rain. Rain before 1 a.m. Chance of rain 95%. It's going to be 29 with 5-mile-an-hour winds and definitely raining and gust of 14 mile an hour. What's a gust, right? It's not a normal wind. Second quarter, 29-6. So it's going to rain in the second quarter, the third quarter, 30-6. And in the fourth quarter, 30-8 with gust of 16 and rain. So it looks like it's going to be a rainy day, definite rain in Buffalo versus snow. How does that really affect the game? Not really. Rain's rain. Snow, not really much. Wind, yes. And we don't have wind here. So a little bit of rain. These guys, the quarterbacks, just throw the ball. They got gloves that will help. So rain, I don't think is an issue. Maybe a little. The Bears go to the Niners, 50 degrees, 3-mile-an-hour winds, and patchy frost at 50 miles an hour. And LA at Atlanta's in a dome. So you get a little bit of rain in Buffalo, but warm. And a chance of rain in the GTS game against New England. And Cleveland Pitt, slight chance of rain, 10-mile-an-hour wind, 43 degrees. So it's summertime here in December. Seattle, Carolina, slight chance of rain, 59, no weather. Cincinnati, 65, and 10-mile-an-hour winds and light rain showers. So you don't even know if it's going to rain. Maybe it rains a little. Is it really going to bother it? The Green Bay game, 37 and 9-mile-an-hour winds, chance of rain. Again, shouldn't be an issue. Denver, KC, 57 degrees, and Dallas, Washington, 52 degrees. So you really have no weather. You really have no wind. The worst you have here is weather, is some rain in the Buffalo-Philly game. And is that really going to matter? I don't think so. I mean, Buffalo wants to run Cook and Josh Allen. Philly, they're going to run Barkley, Hurts, and Hurts is getting worse and worse, isn't he? It's terrible. He's getting as bad as Lamar. I mean, these quarterbacks suck. All right. So there you have it. So again, today, your free play, take Detroit -1 in a teaser. You can, my other free play is the Rams -2 over Atlanta. So that's the best play of the week. The Rams, Atlanta laying the 2. Atlanta with their 25 defense and Kirk Cousins. Oh, I'm Kirk Cousins. I choke. So you can play Detroit with the Rams. I haven't given you a college free play yet. So Hawaii won 35-31 yesterday, which figures I like the game over, but I didn't play it. After the UNLV Ohio, I watched the highlights of that. I was like putting me to sleep. What happened to UNLV in that game? Profit moved to Hawaii. I love the ocean. Couple of third string quarterbacks starting today. Yeah, 3 of them. All of them, Washington, Minnesota, and KC, they're all third stringers. And they're lousy third stringers. I see Washington signed Sam Hartman as like the emergency backup today. Why isn't he starting? Anyway, the question is the motivation. Dallas, I think they'll play. Dak Prescott said he's playing. I'm not sitting out. Detroit has to win. Denver has to win. So look for big games there. Okay. So that's the pros. Let's just look at the college line. We'll look at tomorrow's games and the playoff games. So tomorrow we've got Northwestern 10.5, 43.5 to Central. Northwestern got better during the year. Central, not too bad. They're both under teams with 22 defenses. New Mexico, Minnesota. Minnesota 1.5, 43.5. This is down from 3 and 43, and this is way down. So my guess is the Minnesota quarterback isn't playing, but I thought he was a freshman. Minnesota's an under team with the 23, and New Mexico's a good team, an E team with the 22. Do we have somebody sitting out? Sounds like the quarterback's sitting out. The game's in Arizona. Four key Gophers coming back in unique NIL campaign. I don't know, it doesn't say. And a total 40, 43.5. New Mexico Mini 1.5, 43.5. And UTSA 6 and 59.5. Those are both over. So the CMU Northwestern should be an under game, but the way these bowls are going, Florida International and UTSA should be an over game. Both are over teams with 30 defenses. So you would think, but we're not seeing that. We're not seeing these teams explode. It's almost like they're going through the motions and they're running and these short passes and these turnovers. But I'm not like UNLV gets 7 points. Come on, they average like 35 points a game. Ohio is a 22 defense. They're not this great defense. Western Kentucky, Southern Miss. Southern Miss gets 7 points. It's just really strange what's happening. NC State, Memphis. Memphis gets 7. I don't know what to say. It's really strange right now. All right, let's go to the bowl games, to the playoff games. Yahoo's too stupid to list them all, so I got to go to Scores and Odds because Yahoo can only do this week. So stupid. All right. Keep your eye on Vanderbilt, 4.5, 47.5. To see if Daggio is playing. So if the spread drops to like 2, he's probably not playing. At 4.5, he probably is, unless we hear something. But that's not till the 31st. So that's next Wednesday. Okay. All right. Ohio State, 9.5, 42.5 to Miami of Florida. They're both A teams, and they both have killer defenses. Ohio State an 8, and Miami of Florida a 12. Oregon minus 2.5 now. 52.5 to Texas Tech. That is a misline. Texas Tech should be at least a 3-point favorite. There's no way I'm buying Dante Moore is better than Brenton Morton and this 5 first-round draft picks in their defense of Texas Tech. Both are A teams. Oregon a 16 defense, Texas Tech a 10. Indiana 6.5, 48.5 to Alabama. They're both A teams, but Alabama with the 21 defense and got killed by Georgia. Indy's a 10 defense. I think Alabama's all done here. And then Ole Miss, Georgia. Georgia's 6.5, 56.5. Ole Miss an 18 with the 25. Georgia B with the 15. I got to bet defense here. So I think it'll be, I don't know, Ohio State maybe gets to win. Texas Tech, Indiana, and Georgia should win the games, not necessarily cover or totals. Um, that's what it looks like. I will have two locks in out of the four games for sure that I see right now. So that's the playoff. Again, you want to bet defense. Okay. Uh, how Texas Tech can be the dog in that game? No way. No chance. No how. Uh-uh. That's a miss. Why is Oregon favored? Texas Tech lost one game when their quarterback was out to Arizona State on a miracle. Okay. That's what happened. Um, Otherwise, Oregon, Oregon at home, okay, but Oregon had trouble against Iowa, a good defensive team, and lost to Indiana, a good defensive team. Oregon's not scoring in this game, maybe more than 10 points, maybe 14. Let's see. Gold Maple, welcome to our class. Anybody with gold or silver, we like very much. How am I today? I am fine, thank you. Merry Christmas to you. Just wanted to wish you, well, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Feel free to ask questions or comments. That's why I do a live show. I want to get the personal questions right away. So what are we talking about? College football? Well, we talked about the NFL the first 40 minutes. We talked a little gold and silver, how it's about to go to the moon. And we're just talking college playoff. I don't want to go through all the college. We talked about the tomorrow college games and that, but there's others things like Britain having riots. I'm going to get into, and I cover a broad range of like current events that are detrimental to us. That again will make gold and silver go up. So it's centrally gold and silver, Austrian economics, which is free market economics, which is what we like to talk about. Also, that's my background. I have absolutely no interest in football. I'm from Canada. Prophet, you're from Canada. You have an interest in football, don't you? Ice hockey is a religion here. I know. My family's from Toronto. Lived in the Middle East and the UK, where soccer is a religion. Yeah, and that's what's funny is when the NFL goes to have these games in the UK or Germany, like what are they doing? Or Brazil? That's a beautiful. They all. I was in Berlin, and it was a Saturday night, and the football was on, and I said to where I'm at a bar. And I said, "Can you turn on the NFL game?" He says, "We don't care about that." And he had the soccer game on, and that's what they want. Soccer's big because it's cheap, right? All you need is one ball, right? So everybody puts a ball. You can have 20 guys playing, or you can play with two guys. Where football is a little bit, not that you need helmets and pads, but it's a little different. You need a few players and you need the ball and a lot more injuries. Ice hockey, yeah, it's expensive. First of all, you got to rent the ice. Then you need a stick and a puck. Then you need some pads. And baseball, you need a bat and a ball and a mitt and all the people. So I can see most of the poor countries soccer where they buy a ball and they can go kick it. So I get that. Oh, there you go. Prophet's into football or bust. He's not into the hockey. I don't understand football. I'd rather watch baseball than football and golf. Golf is like watching paint dry. Yeah, I mean golf, especially without any good players in it, is really tough to watch. It's good to play. It's much better to play than to watch. I'd rather watch football than baseball. Baseball it takes like football, you run a play. All right, they go out, they snap the ball, they're going to run or pass. Baseball, it can take 20 pitches to get the guy out. Like you want to, okay, you're up, do something, get a hit, walk, strike out. But it takes 10 pitches, 20 pitches. The managers are idiots. And there's no good players in it. Football, the reason we like football the most is the betting. I'm talking betting here, and we make money at it. And that's why we like it. Baseball is not the same, and it's too long and too boring. Golf, you don't bet on golf unless you're an idiot. So golf, yeah, it's good to play, but not good to watch. It's good if, Jack Nicklaus was playing, or Arnold Palmer, or, Seve, or, Nick Faldo, guys like that, you kind of can root for, but now there's nobody. It's terrible. So you can't even watch it. It's unwatchable. And it's boring. I mean, the guy wins by 5 strokes, turn it off. Not entertaining. Or football, it's about the money. You can make $1,000 betting it. That's why it's popular. Gold Maple. I like crashing and burning, speed skating through the ice with the stick and puck. Hockey fights going. No, I understand. I'm a Bobby Orr fan. Tennis is the only other sport I watch, and that's because I also play it. Yeah. Gold Maple. Football is tame and kind of boring, unfortunately. Love tennis. Well, again, you're watching it because we bet football. That's why we watch football. That's why it's so popular, because you're betting it, right? I gave Detroit today. So if Detroit wins, we make money. That's why it's popular. It's getting bad. The NFL is ruining it with all these stupid stoppages, and we got to review everything. Oh, there's an injury. We'll see in 10 minutes. We got to. He roughed the passer. The pass interference. The refs cheating. It's becoming very unwatchable. Also, not like it used to be. You want to see the violence. You want to see the good hits, and you don't want to see all these penalties that the refs call. And then they announce, he did grab his shirt. Yeah, it's not a penalty. You don't call it a penalty. You let him play, unless he just takes him and throws him down. It ain't a penalty. And you can't interfere with the game with these stupid penalties. So tennis, I never was a tennis player. I did play racquetball at the club, and then I started playing tennis like I play racquetball. So it was almost the same swing, right? I would swing it in tennis and swing it. I took my racquetball swing, and I was able to hit the tennis ball pretty good. I was teaching my friend Carmen, and I said, you don't stand straight, you sideways, and you hit it sideways. You don't hit it straight on. So she liked that. But, tennis I can't watch. No, it's unwatchable to me, unless I'm going to go to sleep. So I watch a little golf if it's the U.S. Open or the British Open. It's probably the only time I watch it. And I would like to play Pebble Beach. That would be a nice thing. You love watching the Olympics, the luge, the alpine skiing, cross country skiing, Summer Olympics, and Winter and World Cup soccer. I don't watch World Cup. I don't watch the Olympics too much. A little bit. I like, it's just I like the swimming maybe, and the skiing. I don't ski, but I like the skeleton. I think that I'd like to go down a sled or the bobsled. Football is the most boring sport to watch and very messy too, especially when you are scrimmaging and tackling an opposing player. Well, that's the whole idea. You're trying to tackle the player. No, it's not boring because, when you go try betting it. All right. So let's say I gave you Detroit. Let's say I gave you Detroit. You just played a straight -7. Now you watch the game. You watch the game with a bet on it. All right. We'll bet $1, and you got Detroit -7. Now watch the game. And now you'll see why it's the most popular game. We don't care about it's not about the hit. It's about scoring and covering and winning money on the bet. That's the beauty of football. It's the betting. It's you making $100 tax free on the game or whatever you're betting. That's the point of it. The real game itself is, all these third string quarterbacks. I mean, I don't know how much I'll watch. It depends how, Detroit's up 35 nothing today. I'm probably turning it off, but it's that's the point. Put the money on it and bet it and win the money tax free. Then you'll see how exciting it is. Big one N. Good morning, Merry Christmas. Everything's great. And am I playing today? Yeah, I gave Detroit -1 as the teaser. Um, they're playing the third string quarterback. They must win. As bad as their defense is and their offensive line and their coach, I still think, you got Jefferson, you got a third string quarterback. So I think that's it. But yeah, and the other free play is the Rams on Monday night against Atlanta. They have to win. They're trying to catch Seattle. They can still get the 1 seed, and they're coming off of the loss to Seattle, which was a joke. How that was a 2-point conversion is bullshit. That was not the guy never caught the ball to go in, and you're calling a backward pass a fumble is a joke. That's bullshit. That whole play was bullshit. Gold Maple. Besides football, what other interests do you have? Well, I play golf, and I go swimming at the pool to work out, and then obviously Austrian economics. I got a master's in it, so I basically understand gold and silver, inflation, what it really is, and um, money, things like that. Austrian economics is so involved in everything. It's about competition. It's about free markets, and we're so far away from that now. It's disgusting. I play poker. Do I like reading classic books, English, French, German, South American, American literature? I do like traveling. I don't. My coins I collect are gold and silver, so I don't collect coins. I'm not a big reader, but I do watch a lot of YouTube to learn. So I'll watch like now in Britain, they're having riots because of the stupid policies by Starmer, and they want to kick him out. So I'll watch that kind of stuff. We're going, what the fuck's going on? And and then I just know the inflation, and I like using Titanic analogy to explain why you get out of the dollar and go into gold and silver. So I'll use those analogies. But I like to learn a lot, basically, but I'm not a big reader. I think too fast. I can't sit and read as much as I can watch because I'm 10 steps ahead of everything. So that's how I am. Gee, how are you? Happy Merry Christmas to you, G. You okay? Everything all right? So I'm giving you a free pick today, Detroit -1 with the Rams -2 on Monday night. That's our free pick. And I will be having 2 locks on the college playoff game next week. I love coin collecting, world gold and silver bullion coins. I love Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping, Ho Chi Minh. I'm a Putin fan too. I think at least he's a leader, right? And he's been very reserved to not start a war and anything. They're kind of forcing him into it. They're trying to ruin Russia and steal all their oil. In mind, what the U.S. is doing is trying to steal gold and oil from all these countries, which is what Hitler did. So Hitler in World War II goes into these countries to steal their gold. That was the only reason for the war. He went to Czechoslovakia to go to the central bank to steal their gold. That was World War II. And he went into all the countries and stole it. When he went into Russia, he went in for their oil and their diamonds. That's why he went to Russia. And that was his primary focus. So it's always he was in North Africa trying to steal the oil because Germany had no oil, they had no natural resources, and they had no gold. So if you watch Monument Man movie, they find in one of these salt things, all this gold was there. They'll show you near the end of the movie. And that was real. He did that. He would trade gold with Switzerland. He couldn't buy iron ore, and steel to make his planes and tanks. So he went to Switzerland and gave him the Nazi gold, which the Swiss said, well, gold's gold. And they uh, reproduced it into Swiss gold. And then with the Swiss gold, they would buy the iron ore, or these other countries who wouldn't buy the Nazi gold would buy the Swiss gold. And then he could make his planes and tanks. The Swiss don't care. They just want to make a buck with their gold. Coin collecting is out. I'd rather just buy gold and silver. I do baseball card collecting. I do have a Mantle and a Brady and Bobby Orr and things like that. Do I have locks today? No, I don't have a lock today. I have 2 locks on Sunday. And again, my free play today is Detroit -1.5 with the Rams -2 on Monday. So the Rams are the free play. I'm giving Detroit for Christmas, and then 2 locks going this week, but it's not nothing today. I like Denver, but it's a big number. And again, you got these third string quarterbacks. And so, yeah, it's mostly attack the third string quarterbacks. So good luck to you. I hope you're well, G. And I've been red hot the last month, so I'm sure you've seen that. Anyway, yeah, I'm a Putin fan. And I don't know if I'm a Z fan or a Ho Chi Minh. I think government is terrible because it's all corrupted. There's very few governments that actually help the people. Look at Macron and Starmer and the guy in Germany. It's all about them. It's all about George Soros. He's really the bad guy here. But they're not helping the people. Our government, the U.S. government, doesn't help us. They're all in it for themselves. They get the kickbacks from the defense contractors. That's why we have these wars. We have massive inflation. I love when they call inflation 2% when it's thousands of percent. You can't even really measure inflation. Inflation is money printing, not prices. And so they'll say, oh, yeah, the Coca-Cola went, it only went up 2% year over year. Well, that's not how you measure inflation. You go back to 71, and I got a nice video to show you. You go back to 71, and that's when you measure the inflation. So here's what inflation really is. Well, $1 bought you in 1972 and now today. This will be crystal clear what inflation is, because this is what you do. You go back to 72 and you'll be amazed at what a dollar bought you back then and the prices. I was watching a James Bond movie, Live and Let Die. And he goes into the bar where the bad guys are. And on the sign, it says hamburger 70 cents and hot dog 50 cents, fries 40 cents. This is I think the early 80s when he started being James Bond. So it's the dollar is worthless. Hence, we go to the lifeboat and buy the gold and silver. But I'm going to play you this one. And this was just about
style or substance. Or here's another choice. Usually, in this video, we're going to look at what you could get for a single dollar bill in 1972 in the United States. I've chosen 1972 for a very specific reason. It was effectively the last year of the American Golden Era. It was the calm before the storm, just 1 year before the 1973 oil embargo and the onset of stagflation changed our economy forever. Incidentally, 1972 was also the first full year after President Nixon closed the gold window.
Real quick, stagflation is high unemployment and high inflation. I think most people don't understand 99% of economics, and they'll make a term, but they don't know what it means. That's what it is. Because the Keynesians argued, I'm an Austrian, the Keynesians argued, there's two economics, Keynesians and Austrians. The Keynesians argue you can't have high unemployment and high inflation. And stagflation proves, yes, you can. And we're doing that right now.
Meaning the US dollar was no longer convertible to gold. I didn't realize the impact of that until I started digging into these prices. So let's have a look at how the prices were back then compared to today, as of 2025. You may be shocked at some of the prices that have increased far more than others, some beyond belief. So here we go. Here is what you could get for your $1 in 1972. 1. A loaf of bread. You could get 4 loaves of bread for $1. As a loaf of white bread back in 1972, think Wonder Bread or Sunbeam, was around 24 or 25 cents. Today's prices for a name brand loaf like that, you're paying around $4.50. Now let's talk about the experience. In 1972, bread was chemically fortified, impossibly white and soft as a cloud. It came in a plastic bag with a twist tie, and it was the staple of every school lunchbox in America. If you look at the inflation math, that 25-cent loaf jumping to $4.50 represents an increase of 1,700%. That feels criminal, doesn't it?
That's the real inflation rate. But that only works for Wonder Bread. Look at a car, look at gold and silver, look at a house. They're all different rates. That's why you can't use it. But that's your inflation rate, 1,000% on Wonder Bread. It's not that Wonder Bread is now $4. They raised their price. That's how much the dollar has lost value. That's why this is ripped, because this is all it's worth, 1 cent. This dollar's worth a cent. Your $100 bill is worth $1. That's why we buy gold and silver, and we're watching it go up and up and up. And as Alistair McLean wants to say, it's the dollar going down, not gold going up. And he's full of shit. It's the demand for gold, because the dollar is worthless, pushing the price up. It's always the demand pushing the price. It's not Wonder Bread here making it $4 because they want to raise prices. In fact, they probably don't, because they lose customers, but it's because of the dollar being worth nothing that's why prices go up. But not for gold and silver, not now. It's bricks and the demand for gold and silver pushing the price to 4,500 to 5,000 to 10,000 soon. All right.
If the minimum wage had tracked that same increase, we'd all be making $30 an hour minimum. But we all know bread is the baseline for survival. And right now, the baseline is expensive. 2. A gallon of milk. For your $1, you could get nearly 2 gallons of milk. Back in 1972, the price was around 58 to 60 cents per gallon. Today's price averages around $4.20. So that's roughly a 600% increase. The packaging was changing in 72. We were moving away from the glass bottles delivered by a milkman and toward the translucent plastic jugs we know today. But here is the shrinkflation check. Milk is one of the few things that hasn't shrunk. A gallon is still a gallon. However, the quality has shifted. In 1972, milk spoiled faster. It was fresher. Today's milk is ultra-pasteurized to sit on shelves for weeks. But here is the kicker. In 1972, you could work for 20 minutes at minimum wage to earn that gallon. Today, you have to work nearly an hour. The liquid hasn't changed, but the effort to get it has tripled. 3 dozen eggs. The price of fresh eggs. Why not get 3 dozen? Because that's what you could get for $1 in 1972. They were roughly 30 to 35 cents a dozen. Today's prices? I barely have a clue, because they fluctuate so wildly, don't they? You've got your free range, your cage-free, your organic. But even a standard carton of factory eggs today hovers around $3.50 or $4. That is an increase of over 1,000%. In 1972, eggs were the cheap protein. Bacon and eggs wasn't a luxury breakfast. It was the standard fuel for the American workforce. You bought them in flimsy cardboard cartons that felt like they were going to disintegrate in your hands. Today, if you walk into a grocery store with $1, you can't even buy a single egg in some places. The humble egg has become a luxury good. 4. A tin of coffee. For your buck in 1972, you could buy a full 1-pound tin of coffee, usually Folgers or Maxwell
Isn't that
House,
amazing?
which cost about 85 to 90 cents. You'd have a dime left over. Now, we need to talk about shrinkage. 1972, a can of coffee was 16 ounces, a full pound. Today, go look at the plastic tubs or bags. They are 12 ounces, sometimes 10.5 ounces. They have shrunk the package by 25% or more. And the price? A 12-ounce bag of decent coffee today is $8 or $9. If we adjust for the weight difference to match the 1972 pound, you are paying close to $12. That represents an inflation rate of over 1,200%. We traded the affordability of the steel tin for a plastic tub and a massive price hike. 5. Swanson TV dinners. I remember these so well. In 1972, a Swanson TV dinner, Salisbury steak or turkey, cost about 39 to 49 cents.
Unbelievable.
So you would get 2 full dinners for $1, perfect for date night on a budget. These were the American equivalent of the Vesta curries. You peeled back the foil, put the aluminum tray in the oven, and waited 45 minutes for the taste of the future. The corn tasted like metal, and the apple crisp burned your mouth like lava. But we thought it was fabulous back in those days. Today, a frozen meal is smaller, lighter, and costs $4 to $5 for a name brand. The shrinkflation here is in the calorie count. The 1972 tray was designed to feed a working adult. Today's frozen meals are basically snacks. 6. 2 packs of Marlboros. Let's move to the vices. A pack of cigarettes back in 1972 was around 45 to 50 cents. So you could get 2 packs for your $1 from a vending machine. As today, $10 or even $15 in places like New York would buy you a single pack. So that's an increase of nearly 3,000%. Now I'm talking about percentages for a reason. This increase isn't just inflation, it's tax. In 1972, the health costs weren't factored in. Smoking was everywhere. Offices, planes, grocery stores. The experience was mechanical. You pulled a heavy knob on a machine in a restaurant lobby, and the pack dropped with a thud. 2 packs for $1 felt fair then. Today, the price is punitive. 7. A 6-pack. Well, almost. Down at the liquor store, if you wanted a 6-pack of beer, Budweiser, Schlitz, or Miller, it was around $1.20 in 1972. So, strictly speaking, your dollar was just short. But you could easily buy a massive 32-ounce quart bottle for about 60 cents and still have change for peanuts. Now, the average price of a 6-pack of domestic beer ranges between $9 and $11. So I've gone for $10 as an average price as of 2025. That is an increase of roughly 800%. But look at the beer itself. In 72, beer was yellow, fizzy, and cold. There were no IPAs, no craft scene. You drank it from a pull tab can that you ripped off and threw on the ground. Littering was a different beast back then too. Your dollar in 72 bought you a good buzz. Today, it won't even cover the bottle deposit. 8. McDonald's Quarter Pounder. 1972 was a big year for fast food because the Quarter Pounder had just gone national. It cost 55 cents. A regular hamburger was 28 cents. So with your dollar, you could get a Quarter Pounder and a regular fry, 24 cents, and still have change. Today, a Quarter Pounder with cheese meal is upwards of $11 or $12. Even just the burger is $6. That's a 1,000% increase. And here is the shrinkflation check. The patty is still technically a quarter pound before cooking, but the bun is airier and the cheese seems thinner. In 1972, fast food was a treat, and the fries were cooked in beef tallow, which made them taste amazing. Today, you pay 10 times as much for vegetable oil and disappointment. 9. Kentucky Fried Chicken. Sunday dinner in 1972 often meant a trip to Colonel Sanders. A multi-piece box of chicken, let's say a snack box with 2 pieces and a biscuit, was around $1, maybe $1.10. Today, a 2-piece meal at KFC is nearly $9. The biscuit is definitely smaller, I've checked. The potatoes are instant powder. The inflation rate here hits hard because chicken was supposed to be the cheap meat. In 1972, you walked into the store, smelled the grease, and carried that red and white box out like a trophy. It was affordable family fuel. Now, a bucket of chicken feels like a luxury purchase for a special occasion. 10. A shot of whiskey. If you wanted something stronger, the math gets interesting. In 1972, a shot of blended whiskey, like Seagram 7 at a dive bar, was 50 cents. Your dollar slammed on the bar top bought you 2 shots. The bar scene in 72 was dark, wood-paneled, and smoky. The jukebox played Rolling Stones or Al Green. Today, a shot of well whiskey at a dive bar is $5 minimum, often $8. That represents a 1,500% markup. The happy hour of 1972 was actually happy. Today, you have to work nearly an hour at minimum wage just to buy 1 drink to forget about work. Buy 1 drink to forget about work. 11. Hershey bars. Chocolate. Well, I've chosen a Hershey bar because it's the standard, isn't it? You could get 10 Hershey bars for $1 in 1972. They were 10 cents each. Today, a standard bar is roughly $1.50 to $1.79. That is a 1,500% increase. But we all know about shrinkage, don't we? The bar back in 1972 was substantial, about 1.26 ounces, but it felt thicker. The formula has changed too. More sugar, less cocoa butter. In 72, a kid could find a dime on the sidewalk and have a great afternoon. Today, a dime on the sidewalk is basically trash. 12. Coca-Cola. You could buy 10 bottles of Coke because the price was 10 cents plus a deposit. And these were the glass bottles, 6.5 ounces or the newer 10-ounce ones. Now, the price of a single bottle of Coke varies anywhere from $2 to $3 at a convenience store. But the real loss here is the ingredients. In 1972, Coke was made with real sugar. Today, unless you buy the expensive Mexican imports, you're drinking high fructose corn syrup. So you are paying 2,000% more for a chemically inferior product. 13.
Now
3
listen.
gallons of gas. This is the big one. You could get nearly 3 gallons of gas for $1. 36 cents was the national average price in 1972. Today, the national average hovers around $3.50. The experience was totally different. You rolled over a rubber hose that went ding ding. An attendant came out, yes, a human being, pumped the gas, checked your oil, and wiped your windshield. All for 36 cents a gallon. The air smelled of tetraethyl lead. Today, you pump it yourself, watch ads on a little screen at the pump, and pay 10 times the price. And remember, 1972 was the last year of cheap gas. In 73, the embargo hit, and we never went back. 14.
I think you got the idea. And all of it is the dollar losing value. It takes more dollars to buy the Hershey's, the Coke, and everything. Then they changed it, like Coca-Cola went from sugar to high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup kills you. That's why there's so much diabetes and so much problems is the high fructose corn syrup. So again, to save money, Coca-Cola switches, but then they don't pass the savings on to you. It now costs more for the thing, for the Coke, even though they've switched ingredients. So be very careful with high fructose corn syrup. That is the leading killer. It gives you diabetes, high blood pressure, heart problems, strokes, and everything else is the high fructose corn syrup. So I avoid it at all costs. Mostly your ketchups, your barbecue sauce, and your salad dressings. Avoid cereal, avoid yogurt, most of the stuff like that. Candy, you got to avoid. Or like now, I eat dark chocolate. which has very little milk chocolate in it and a lot of cocoa. Also, a lot of cayenne pepper and Celtic salt and cinnamon and ginger, all that kind of stuff we need because they take that out. Here's my avocado. Again, it's got a lot of magnesium in it, which we don't get anymore. So they chemically screwed everything up. But that's what the inflation is. So you think you have $100 bill, it's not worth what $100 bill was. So like they say, you could buy this stuff for 10 cents or McDonald's for $1. It now costs you $10. Well, wait, I should be able to buy it for $1. Why can't I? Because it's not worth anything because they printed it. That's what the inflation really is. Your money doesn't buy what it should have bought. That's the problem. But yet you don't notice it because you still see $100 bill. I got $100. What you don't go is carry that to the next level. It says, but what does $100 buy me? Nothing. That's the problem. You go to the grocery store, it's $50, $60. I went yesterday. No, I went Tuesday to get ready for this. And everything, my first three items were like five. I got pita bread, $3.99. I got what else did I get? I got these nuts, right? This almonds, $6.99. I got chocolate cream pies, $5.99. Everything's $5.99. But it's the dollar that has no value. That's why we buy gold and silver, because that is the great equalizer. As you can't buy anything with the dollar, you get out of dollars. It's very simple. You, instead of using the dollars for money, you have gold and silver, and that is money, and that'll go up. Sitting in the sauna, one guy asked me, I buy gold and silver. He says, well, what are you going to do when you sell it? I says, you don't understand. That is the money. I don't need to sell it for money because that is the money. And right now, everybody takes dollars and doesn't take gold and silver. Although yesterday I went to get my ribs, and when I paid, I could have used my 1 ounce of silver to pay for the ribs. He would take it, and he'd give me $70 because that's whatever it's going for. So he would give me $70 for my 1 ounce of silver, which would pay for the meal, and he'd give me $20 back. But I don't want to sell the silver at $70 when it's worth $1,000. So as you see, COMEX is trying to price the gold and silver with derivatives and options, so the price is not real. It's inflated down, so they're holding the value of the gold and silver down, which is all bullshit. But that's why we buy physical gold and silver, no ETFs, no paper. We get out of paper because everything in dollars is worthless. Stocks, bonds, real estate trusts. You want the Caesar's Palace Real Estate Trust or any of these other casinos, that's what Vegas is doing, is these real estate trusts with their hotels, which is failing miserably as we see. And that's the problem. So that's why we buy the gold and silver, and we know it's worth 10 times what it's showing on COMEX. All right. So I thought that was a very interesting one. I saw that this morning. We looked at why the rich are going broke because they're whatchamacallit, they're using leverage on everything. So instead of paying $100 for, like instead of buying silver for $70 and using $70, they're using like $7, and then they're leveraging the rest of it. And then when things go wrong, they have to cover. And the leverage play. When you got to cover your position, they can't do it because they don't have all this money. So all the rich are all leveraged up. They don't really have money. They just have these stocks that are leveraged and loaned, and then they're all going broke too. Let's take a look at this wild horde in the UK.
Recently, I went on my first cruise, and it was so much fun. It was 7 nights with Virgin Voyages through the Caribbean. So here are some.
All right, this is the UK.
We should be to migrants, well, this happened. This was the arrest of 2 Islamic State-inspired terrorists who were found guilty today of plotting what police said would have been the worst terrorist act in British history.
This was poised to be the worst attack in 1,000 years of British history. Over 394 people across schools, nurseries and synagogues could die. And who are the attackers? 3 illegal migrants, Ammar Hussein, Walid and Bilal Sardawi, who arrived from the Middle East. Armed with Kalashnikov's rifles purchased with taxpayer money, they are open supporters of religious extremism. At so-called far-right protest, Starmer was accused of importing militants for the self-destruction of Britain. Before that, at 5:20 p.m, protesters issued an immediate demand: the remigration of 900,000 illegals back to the Middle East and Africa. Starmer continued to say, "The problem is not nation or religion." He added, "The problem is the smugglers and the